With that being said, the big story of the day in the last couple days, ever since 9/11, has been the Democrats' attempt to just slander the GOP and make connections to the 9/11 attacks with the January 6th events. It's truly crazy, but we have a top Democrat here on Face the Nation making that exact connection. Let's go ahead and jump right into the clip.
Look now at the evolving threats to the homeland. We begin this morning with the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Mark Warner of Virginia. Good morning to you, Senator. You know, 9/11 introduced to many Americans for the very first time this sense of vulnerability at home, and it launched the global war on terror. I wonder how vulnerable you think America is now. Are we paying enough attention to the Middle East and to Afghanistan?
Well, Margaret, I remember, as most Americans do, where they were on 9/11. I was in the middle of a political campaign, and suddenly the differences with my opponent seemed very small in comparison. And our country came together. And in many ways, we defeated the terrorists because of the resilience of the American public, because of our intelligence community. And we are safer, better prepared. The stunning thing to me is here we are 20 years later, and the attack on the symbol of our democracy was not coming from terrorists, but it came from literally insurgents attacking the Capitol on January 6th. So I believe we are stronger. I believe our intelligence community has performed remarkably. I think the threat of terror has diminished. I think we still have new challenges in terms of state challenges, Russia, and longer term, a technology competition with China. But I do worry about some of the activity in this country where the election deniers, the insurgency that took place on January 6th, that is something I hope we could see that same kind of unity of spirit.
What a remarkable connection in a negative way. I mean, you're going to really connect terrorists, the ones that hijacked the planes, crashed them into the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, out in a field, Flight 93, to the idiots that stormed the Capitol. I mean, you got to make a rough, and I'm talking about a rough analogy in correlation to that. And in a nutshell, he basically just called those that stormed the Capitol, those that were outside, terrorists in a nutshell. I mean, we saw Joe Biden call everybody as a MAGA supporter and a Republican, in a nutshell, an extremist, a threat to democracy, a threat to the country. And now this is the type of stuff they're going to do. Disgusting. But hey, should we expect anything less from the Democrat Party? I don't think so. Let's continue here.
As you're pointing out, America came together after 9/11, and we are incredibly divided right now. One thing that is potentially quite explosive is this ongoing investigation of by the Justice Department of the former president and his handling of classified information. You've asked for a briefing from the intelligence community. Given how sensitive this is, why should anything be shared with Congress, given that this is an ongoing investigation?
Because as the chairman of the Intelligence Committee, and I'm very proud of our committee, we're the last functioning bipartisan committee, I believe, in the whole Congress. The vice chairman and I have asked for a briefing of the damages that could have arisen from mishandling of this information. And I believe it's our congressional duty to have that oversight. Remember, what's at stake here is the fact that if some of these documents involved human intelligence and that information got out, people will die. If there were penetration of our signals intelligence, literally years of work could be destroyed. We talk about the enormous...
There is some truth to what he's saying here, okay? Again, just because I'm a Republican and conservative doesn't mean that I'm always going to take the side of Trump. Those documents should have been obviously given to the National Archive. There is some truth to what he's saying here in terms of the documents that are there. But what I find interesting the most is she doesn't follow up with the asinine thing that guy said not once but twice regarding 9/11 and January 6th. Where's the follow-up here? Where is the journalism that's being conducted? It's as if, nobody wants to just look at somebody in the face going, what the hell are you talking about, man? You don't think that was a crazy thing you just said? Well, I don't understand why that's never done here in the media. It's unbelievable. But you have that. You have her talking about Mar-a-Lago and the raid that took place. At no point is she probably going to ever ask this guy, hey, you're talking about looking at the investigation of Mar-a-Lago. Where's the Hunter Biden laptop? Where's the big man being questioned here? Where's the investigations on our intelligence committee going after the president that's currently seated right now in the Oval Office? Where's all that? Where are those questions at? We'll see if they're actually questioned here to this top Democrat.
advances our intelligence community has made helping our Ukrainian friends. That comes about because we share intelligence. If there's intelligence that has been shared with us by allies and that is mishandled, all of that could be in jeopardy. Now, we don't know what's in those documents, but I think it is incumbent. As soon as we get approval, let me be clear, as soon as we get approval, my understanding is there is some question because of the special master appointment by the judge in Florida, whether they can brief at this point. We need clarification on that from that judge as quickly as possible, because it is essential that the Intelligence Committee leadership at least gets a briefing of the damage assessment.
But that damage assessment, it has been paused, as has the classification review, and it will take some time. So, I'm assuming in your answer there, you're saying there have been no promises of a briefing to be scheduled. Is that right?
I believe we will get a briefing as soon as there is clarification whether this can be performed or not in light of the ruling of the judge in Florida.
Why should that happen? Because I want to get to something you said, which was the last bipartisan committee. You and Marco Rubio, your partner in this request for a briefing, put forth this letter asking for the damage assessment. But lately, your colleague's been making some comments that don't sound quite as bipartisan. He's compared the Justice Department to corrupt regimes in Latin America when it comes to this investigation. He's accused DOJ of leaking sensitive details. And he said the only reason to leak it is to create a narrative for political purpose. When information gets shared with Congress, as you know, the accusation is it will get leaked. So, A, it looks like you're losing that partisanship. And B, if you brief Congress, isn't it going to leak further and worsen?
The record of our Intelligence Committee of keeping secret, that's why the Intelligence Committee shares information with us. We remember, this was the committee bipartisan that did the Russia investigation.
But you know that your oversight capability, many would argue, including former heads of counterintelligence, the FBI, the line is drawn when it's an active investigation. They don't owe you a briefing.
I do not want any kind of insight into an active investigation by the Justice Department. Mm-hmm. I do want the damage assessment of what would happen to our ability to protect the nation. Here we are 21 years after 9/11. If classified secrets, top secrets, are somehow mishandled.
Is anybody else kind of laughing at the idea of him wanting to protect the nation from terrorism, as literally the president that's sitting in the Oval Office now, the big guy, of which there's no investigation going on, literally pulled out of Afghanistan, left over $7 billion of military-grade equipment there for the Taliban to run roughshod over an entire nation and put in Sharia law, literally rape and pillage women all over the country. But we're safer now, folks, than when we ever been. And he's all talking about, oh, well, you know, intelligence this, intelligence that. But her question keeps following up of, why should you get this? A lot of times when you get this kind of information, when Congress gets it, this stuff is leaked. Why should it be ever given to you in the first place? Oh, well, we want a damage assessment and all these things, yada, yada, yada. When his own person, his own partner, Marco Rubio, is like, hey, you know what? It's Banana Republic. The things they did to this guy is outrageous. They've been going after witch hunt after witch hunt for freaking 5+ years now with this guy. Leave him alone, but they can't leave him alone. And the same people that wanted Trump out of all our lives for all those years, that's why they voted him out of office. They didn't want to hear his name. They didn't want to see his face. They removed him off social media. They can't stop with this man. They freaking have Trump derangement syndrome. They freaking are addicted to the orange man, bad man, Donald J. Trump, the 45th president of the United States. They can't leave the guy alone. They need him.
I pointed out earlier, people could die, sources of intelligence could disappear, the willingness of our allies to share intelligence could be undermined. And I think we need that assessment to make sure if on a
which you will get,
but I think
it's going to take some time.
I think we need it sooner than later.
But to that point, because it's so sensitive, because the country's so divided, because you already have in many ways a target being put on the back of law enforcement, isn't it more important to get it right, to be deliberate, and not to be fast here? I want the details just as much as you do.
I do not think we should have, as the Intelligence Committee, a briefing on the ongoing investigation. What our responsibility is to assess whether there's been damage done to our intelligence collection and maintenance of secrets capacity. That isn't a damage assessment that, frankly, even the judge in Florida has said can continue.
Before November?
Listen, once we get clarification from the judge in Florida, and again, I don't think we can cherry pick what part of the legal system we like or dislike. I have trust in our legal system. I may not agree with the decision of the judge in Florida, but I respect our Department of Justice. I respect the FBI. I think they are trying under extraordinarily difficult circumstances to.
All right, so he's just giving a bunch of political answers. Interesting, though, and I actually like that question she threw in there of like, oh, well, before the midterms, basically, to see kind of what happens. Is the information going to be leaked out there to the public before the midterms? You know, all sorts of stuff could happen with this. I just love the fact, you guys, they're losing their crap. They want this whole damage assessment. It was in freaking boxes in the dude's closet in Mar-a-Lago, and they're freaking out about everything. It's on par with like them with Donald Trump shaking his hand to have a freaking glass of water, and they said that he was unfit to hold office. All the while you have Joe Biden leaking information left and right, has been on voicemail, videotape, camera. He's in the emails themselves. He's called the big man. His freaking son is snorting cocaine off a dog's back. Not really, but pretty much out of the ass crack of a prostitute. You know, all these things are going on. Nothing. Nobody's going to bat an eye on Joe Biden, but they're going to do everything they can because there's a shoebox with freaking some documents in the ex-president's house. Go figure. So that's how things are going to be ran with this country. No wonder we're divided, because the Democrats will not let up on that man. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.